My name is Kit Cummings. I'm the president and founder of the Power of Peace Project, which is a 501c3.
I'm Janice Hilton, president of the Cobb County Master Gardeners.
Hi, my name is Lauren Ham. I'm the program coordinator for the Special Needs Development Group and also the program therapeutic recreation specialist that runs the Horizon League.
Hi, I'm Lisa Crossman. I'm deputy director for Cobb and Douglas Public Health.
Our flagship program is Protect the Dream, and that's where we partner with Cobb EMC. We teach kids to design big dreams that are big enough and valuable enough to protect from what we call the 7 dream killers. We figure if we go in and target the influencers, the opinion leaders, the high flyers, and then do character and leadership work to help them learn to protect their dreams from irresponsible social media, disrespect of authorities, unhealthy relationships, and help them learn to protect their own dream, then we commission those that have the most influence to go and protect the dreams of their fellow classmates.
We are volunteers who have been trained and who are working within our community to educate the public about horticultural-based information and to promote gardening and to provide demonstration gardens for our community. One of the persons that makes things happen here at our Cobb Master Gardeners is Gail Bender. And Gail is joining me. She is our communications director and also the chair of the Wellness Garden at Cobb Farm Bureau.
The Wellness Garden at Cobb County Farm Bureau started 3 years ago. We started with a vacant lot. There was nothing there, and Cobb EMC Foundation was at our groundbreaking. The first year we were able to provide 700 pounds of food to a local food bank, and then the next year it was 1,300, and we are ready at 1,000 now this year. So each year we're increasing the amount of food we're providing.
The Special Needs Development Group is a 501c3. We offer sports, athletics, cultural arts, as well as special events for children and adults ages 5 years old and older. This is open to all community members, all ages, all disabilities, physical, cognitive, and emotional.
Since 1920, Cobb and Douglas Public Health has been working with our partners to protect the health and safety of all of the residents in Cobb and Douglas County. We work to reduce epidemics, to help link individuals to community resources, and to provide health care to those in need. From our Safe Kids program that helps assure that every child in our community has a safe car seat, or safety equipment in the home, to assuring prenatal care for uninsured pregnant women. The Operation Roundup has just made such a difference to helping us link those individuals to the care and services that they need.
From Kit and Tony and the Power of Peace Project, thank you.
From all of us Cobb Master Gardeners, we say thank you.
From all of us at the Special Needs Development Group, thank you. We appreciate your continued support, your generosity, and for enriching the lives of our program participants, volunteers, and families.
I want to sincerely thank the Cobb EMC Foundation and Operation Roundup for helping us to fill the gaps and meet the needs of our residents in Cobb County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
YLP was such an incredible experience. I've learned so many leadership skills, everything from interview skills to being able to manage a team effectively.
I have learned just how to be a good leader in more ways than just being a leader does not mean just being in charge. It means being able to connect with people.
YLP has helped me in my education as it has kind of opened my view to a bunch of different fields that I can pursue in college.
I'd say take advantage of all of the opportunities that Cobb EMC throws at you. There are so many, so just take advantage of that and show them who you are.
Have you ever seen someone's yard filled with flamingos? And did you know that those flamingos can help save lives? Hi, I'm Chris Delaney, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Cobb EMC. My favorite thing about the Pink Power Initiative is that it's just a super fun way to talk about something that's kind of serious and nobody wants to really talk about. Most people don't realize that 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime, and 85% of those women will not have any family history of breast cancer, and that is why early detection is so important. The Pink Power Initiative has lots of different facets. Our linemen will all have pink hard hats for the month of October. Our work trucks will all have pink ribbons on them for the month of October. There is a large flock of flamingos near our marquee sign on 41. It's so fun to know that when someone wakes up in the morning to go get the newspaper and they open that front door, or they're opening the front door to go to the bus stop with their kids, that they'll be greeted by a flock of flamingos all over their yard. It's so fun. What we found was that people loved the flamingos, and some of the flocks never even left a neighborhood. Every morning they would show up on a different yard in the same neighborhood. So the best part about that is that we know everyone's talking. They're talking about the flamingos, they're talking about the initiative, and they're hopefully making their appointments. If you want to get involved with Pink Power this year, we would love for you to join us at cobbemc.com/pinkpower, and there you can either make a donation to feed the flock, or you can send the flock to someone's house.
All of the monies raised go to survivorship programs.
At Cobb EMC, our team works year-round to provide you with reliable power and low rates. If your home is powered by Cobb EMC, you're a member of our co-op family. Belonging to a cooperative means when we save, you get money back. As your neighbor, Cobb EMC is powered by the purpose of making our community a better place. We're committed to delivering you value beyond electricity. We're Cobb EMC, and we're proud to power your lives. Mornings can be hectic, but saving energy is easy. Cobb EMC is here to help you make smart energy choices. Practicing good energy efficiency habits can save you up to 25% on your electric bill, because even the smallest actions can lead to big savings, so you can spend less time working and more time doing the things you love. We're Cobb EMC, and we're proud to power your lives.
Hi, I'm Johannes Rosello. I'm the Development Manager of Ser Familia.
My name is Debbie Day. I'm Chief Executive Officer of Special Needs Cobb.
Hi, I'm Mike Reichert. I'm the President and CEO of Must Ministries.
Hi, my name's James. I'm the founder of KOS Inc.
I'm Lisa Mello, the CEO of Live Safe Resources.
Hi, my name is Tasha Whitener, and I'm Executive Director of Waymark.
Ser Familia offers family, social, and mental health services for Latinos through our 5 offices here in Metro Atlanta and also 1 office in Puerto Rico.
Special Needs Cobb is Cobb County's original special needs nonprofit. We're here to meet the needs of the special needs community.
Must Ministries has been around for 53 years in this community, and it helps people that are in poverty. We do that in 5 different ways. We help people with housing, we help people with food, we help people with clothing, jobs, and then we have a medical clinic, and we also provide mental health care.
KOS Inc.'s mission is to build confidence through knowledge. We achieve this in a variety of ways. Primarily, we run classes and camps for children ages 5 to 11 following on Cobb County school breaks. We teach a wide variety of subjects: carpentry, sewing, theater, visual arts, STEM, yoga, mindfulness, music, and more.
The programs and services that Live Safe Resources provides to our community are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we would not be able to provide that service through our crisis line and through our programs without the help of community partners like Cobb EMC and its foundation and members.
Waymark serves youth ages 6 to 21 plus who are in foster, adoptive, and group homes. The Cobb EMC Foundation has been a donor for a very, very long time, and we started back in 2008 with 29 kids. Fast forward to this year, we're going to serve over 800 children and teens, which is absolutely amazing. We have over 400 plus volunteers that serve with us through over 27,000 plus volunteer hours.
One of the best examples of how the Cobb EMC Foundation has helped Special Needs Cobb has been to be a seed funder for our new Children and Teens Weekend Respite Program. There are currently 3,500 children that are available to come to this weekend program in the school systems of both Marietta and Cobb County. Without the assistance of the Cobb EMC Foundation, this program would not have been possible.
So one of the great stories, one of the great news of our organization this year is that we recently acquired an 84,000 square feet building in Kennesaw. With this new building and the support of the Cobb EMC Foundation, we will be able to support more Latino families in their journey from crisis to thriving.
So thank you, Cobb EMC Foundation, for all that you do through the Roundup program to help all of us be able to meet the needs of others in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
At Cobb EMC, we're committed to working for you. We serve our community throughout the year with initiatives that help students reach greater heights, provide for our neighbors in need, raise awareness to make impactful change, and strive towards a greener future. We believe in bringing our community together because serving is at the heart of what we do. We're Cobb EMC, and we're proud to power your lives. Affordable and reliable electricity is a key ingredient for a successful economy. At Cobb EMC, we understand the importance of building powerful connections and having a place for businesses and families to call home. From developing the workforce of the future to providing the best products and services available, Cobb EMC is more than your electric provider. We're your community partner in economic development. We're Cobb EMC, and we're proud to power your lives.
Watson, you've been with Cobb EMC now for 10 years. Congratulations. Let's get you your own PC and give you tips on how to be safe and secure as you use that device. Watson, what is this on your PC? Tell me those aren't your passwords. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? No. That's not how we do it. You don't want to have passwords posted around your PC screen telling folks how to get into what you're doing. So let's talk about one key thing to do. One is we have what's called a digital vault. And it's not a real vault, but it's on your machine, on the web. So wherever you are, you can access it. And all these passwords you have for any system, any app you have, they're accessible from that location where you are. So you don't need these on your PC. They're not really good to have. So let's get rid of these things, okay? They're not good for you. Not good. Watson, hi. Are you logged into the Wi-Fi doing some work? But wait, you have Freebird, Hackers Are Us? This isn't the right Wi-Fi. First of all, step one is always ask for the correct Wi-Fi to log into, and those aren't the right ones. So let's mark that as your first action for logging into Wi-Fi. And what they're trying to do is steal through these fake Wi-Fi connections all your identity, and we don't want that to happen. So the solution for you is to get what's called a VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it is a secure location from your PC to anywhere in the world you're trying to email or talk or chat with someone in a very secure way. So let's get you a secure VPN. Deal? Deal. Watson, I think this is a phishing email that you received on your system. So let's talk about that. Watson? No, not that kind of phishing. No, this is phishing on email. And we want to be sure you know how to look at email to figure out if it's a phish or if it's real. You can see it's not really a good email. It says the wrong person is sending this email to you. You can look at who it's addressed to. That's not your name. And then finally asking for you to click here for all the bird seed you can eat. Don't fall prey to those things. I get it, but we'll take care of you. So look at the email carefully, examine it, so you don't click things and find yourself in trouble. Deal? Deal. Well, I think you're good now. You've got all the tools you need to be safe and secure with your new laptop. Now, let's go fishing.
At Cobb EMC, there's a team of dedicated employees who are committed to powering your everyday. This is more than our job. It's our purpose. We're always in the background and here when you need us, 24/7, 365. We're Cobb EMC, and we're proud to power your lives. At Cobb EMC, we are energizing the next generation of innovators and leaders through scholarships, leadership development programs, and education and literacy initiatives. From sparking interest in careers and energy to fostering a lifelong passion of learning and discovery, Cobb EMC is committed to educating young minds and illuminating the pathways to success. Together, we are leading the way to a brighter future. When severe weather hits, most of us take cover, but some head straight into the storm. At Cobb EMC, safety is more than a priority. It's a promise. We also provide tips and resources to keep you and your family safe. Preparedness starts with you and continues with us. We're Cobb EMC, neighbors helping neighbors, powering through the storm together.
Hello, and welcome to Cobb EMC's Hotline Demonstration. My name is Nick Wilson, and my assistant is Josh Cash, and we will be your guide as we go through this presentation. In this presentation, we will dive into the technologies that power our homes, cities, and industries, while emphasizing safety. Let's start this journey together to explore the dynamic world of electricity and its vital role it plays in our daily lives. The first thing we're going to discuss is what a conductor, an insulator, and the purpose of a transformer. A conductor is something that electricity flows through easily. On a power system, we use copper and aluminum as our conductive wires. An insulator is something that power will not flow through easily. What we also use as our personal protective equipment, which is an excellent insulator, is rubber. As you can see, we are wearing rubber overshoes, and my assistant Josh is wearing high voltage rubber gloves. With that said, we will move on to a transformer. The purpose of a transformer is to transform high voltage and step it down to a lower usable voltage. The voltage is 120-240 volts. Our power system operates at 7,200. As you can see on this trailer behind us, we are using this green box, which is an underground transformer, to step up our voltage from 120 to 7,200. We will energize the trailer behind me at 7,200. We will use the overhead transformer on the pole to step the voltage back down to a usable 120-240 volts. So the first demonstration we're going to do is step on the pedal, energize the trailer to light up the light bulb. By doing that, that puts our system into motion and test it for errors. Oftentimes we get calls from members saying that they heard a loud boom and the lights went out. When that loud boom happens, the protection device opens, everything downstream of that protection device will be de-energized, everything upstream will still be energized. So what we want to demonstrate now is how wood could either be a conductor or it could be an insulator. The first piece of tree that Josh is going to try is a dry piece of wood. As you can see, when he bridges out the protection device, the light bulb does not light up. So in this case, wood would be an insulator. It would not be a conductor. However, if we take the exact same piece of wood, but it's actually off of a live tree, that could in fact be a great conductor. So as you see now, when we energize the trailer, Josh is going to put the limb in place, and as you can see, that piece was an excellent conductor as it lit up the light bulb. The next thing we're going to demonstrate is a kite string. Under certain circumstances, a kite string could be very conductive. So if you're going to go out to fly a kite, please fly kites in open fields away from overhead power lines. As you can see, as Josh installs the kite string on the protection device and I energize the trailer, the light bulb will light up to demonstrate that the kite string is also an excellent conductor. The next thing we're going to demonstrate is energizing a Mylar balloon. So what we want to demonstrate is just how conductive balloons can be and how hazardous it is when our linemen have to go out and remove those from power lines. So as you can see, as I energize the trailer, you can see the balloon behind me is very conductive and it will light up the light bulb. The next thing we're going to demonstrate is just how hazardous the 120-240 volts that's in our home that powers our TVs and electronics. My assistant Josh is going to put a hot dog on the 120-240 volt side of an overhead transformer. As you can see, when we energize the trailer, the hot dog will start cooking from the inside out. Electricity cooks from inside out, very similar to a microwave oven. As you can see, as the hot dog swells and starts to cook, that would demonstrate exactly how hazardous the voltage is in our home. The next thing we're going to do is cook a hot dog on the 7,200 volts. You will see that there is a dramatic change as the hazardous content of the extra voltage will be displayed. As I energize the trailer, the 7,200 volts will cook the hot dog. The last thing we're going to do is draw an electrical arc. Please note, if you see electricity or hear electricity, that is an abnormal condition. Please contact your power provider immediately. So the next thing we're going to demonstrate is what that electrical arc looks like. You can see the blue color, you can hear the noise. That is, again, an abnormal condition. Well, that concludes our presentation. Please be aware, stay away from down power lines. and always remember, stay safe. Thank you.
In early 2020, Cobb EMC broke ground on a very innovative project. This Distributed Energy Resource, or DER project, was codenamed SolarBee as a nod to the solar and battery storage energy elements within it.
Our traditional power systems are designed to deliver power only one way, and that is from generating stations to the distribution substations and all the way down to the loads.
But DER technology enables the generation of electricity anywhere on our distribution system. That means that now power can flow any direction.
The SolarBee project has 4 elements to it. The first part, the almost 5,000 solar panels on the rooftops of 3 of the largest buildings on the Cobb EMC corporate campus, and the construction of a new car canopy made of solar panels in the parking lot. Our local company, Creative Solar USA, helped us with the solar portion of the SolarBee project.
The next element is the newly created Solar Garden, which includes 3 smart flowers and 1 DC fast charging EV station. The garden is open to our community daily from dawn to dusk and serves as an educational tool to learn about solar energy technology.
The third element of the project is the microgrid, which we are in the process of completing. The basic idea behind the microgrid is to increase the resiliency of the distribution system so that if the grid loses power, the microgrid can restore power immediately using local on-site resources such as solar PV and battery storage.
The most critical piece of Project SolarBee is the battery energy storage system. There are 576 batteries in this building, aka Battery Barn. We also have 2 HVAC systems to keep the humidity low and it very cool in here. We have safety features such as a fire suppression system. We have 2 inverters and 2 system controllers in the back, and that sound you hear are the system controllers running. And we also have a nice HMI display for our system controller here in the front, so we can see the status of our batteries at all times. Now, let's take a closer look at the batteries.
So what you see here is the dual rack system, and there are 12 of those. Each dual rack consists of 2 columns, also called string. The output of both the strings is connected to the switchgear. Switchgear monitors the performance of each module via these communication links. In the event, if any module malfunctions, then the switchgear will isolate the rest of all these modules from the rest of the system. The output of the switchgear is then fed into the DC aggregator, which is then connected to the inverter. Now let's take a look at our master controller.
So how do we know what's going on with our battery building? Well, here we have our HMI display. This shows us the status of every single battery module in this building, including the state of charge for the entire battery system. It will also show us the temperature and humidity control in our battery system. We can also see through our kiosk here what our rooftop solar is doing, along with our smart flowers and the battery system, all integrated as Project SolarBee. Here we have our emergency stop. This to shut down the battery system if we needed to in an emergency. And now let's talk about other safety features.
At Cobb EMC, safety is our top priority, and this building is no exception to this. What you see on my left-hand side is the fire suppression system, which is connected to the local fire alarm monitoring system. In the event there is a fire, the fire alarm will go off, and this unit will send a signal to this fire suppression system to release the gas inside the building to extinguish the fire. At the same time, this control unit will send a signal to the 911 dialer, which is called the fire department. And the last element of the safety is the HVAC system, which are connected to this humidity and temperature controller that maintains the humidity and temperature inside the building. In addition, we also have several humidity and temperature sensors installed inside the building as well as in the racking system. So this is the last part of the tour. Thank you very much for visiting the Battery Barn.
The first benefit of this project is that more than 60% of the energy required for our campus can be supplied by the renewable energy of our SolarBee project. And the project will also manage the peak demand of our system. In addition, we can use the battery to perform solar smoothing when the solar output is lower than expected.
Project SolarBee demonstrates to our Cobb EMC members and the community that the company embraces sustainability. We want to be a trusted energy advisor to them by sharing our knowledge and helping them understand the key considerations in a solar and battery storage solution. Look for Cobb EMC to be a leader in achieving sustainability goals through innovative DER technology while keeping our rates low.
The project's focus on leadership, innovation, reliability, and community make it the perfect working example of the co-op principles. These are the core values of Cobb EMC and distinguish EMCs from a more traditional corporate structure. The result is a better energy future for the EMC members and everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Tico Jones and I'm in the Education and Community Relations Department at Cobb EMC. And this is Watson's Electric Avenue. And right beside me, I have my friend Watson. He's our safety ambassador here at Cobb EMC. This is a safety presentation that teaches the dangers of electricity. And I want everyone to be as safe as possible around the electricity. So before we get started, I want to provide you a couple of definitions about electricity. With electricity being so dangerous, we must respect it. So the first one is gonna be electrocution. Electrocution is the death by electric shock. So we want to make sure that we eliminate that situation or that term in our lives because electrocution is very dangerous. The second is going to be voltage. Voltage is the pressure that pushes electricity down the power lines. Then the third definition is energized. That means that there is power flowing through, whether it be the power lines, your meter, but it is providing electricity to and from your home. So now that we have those definitions, I want to also speak a little bit on my safety attire. Watson also has a safety attire. The first safety attire is our gloves. I have a rubber pair and a leather pair. And what that is that protects me from electricity. So it allows me to prevent from being shocked or electrocuted. My second is my eyewear, my glasses. Electricity tends to arc, and if it arcs, it will allow me to protect my eyes from the arc. My third is my fire-resistant shirt that provides me the protection from any fire or arc. And then last but not least, I have my hot stick, and what this does is it allows me to maneuver around Electric Avenue so that I am safe. Before I get started, Watson, I want to thank you, and I will need your help in a couple of moments, so I'll call you back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, sir. In this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate electricity and how it flows through our neighborhoods. So we're going to start off right now just realizing that electricity is invisible, so you cannot tell where the electricity is. But just because you cannot see the electricity does not mean it's not there. So how are we going to be able to tell that the electricity is flowing through and that the power lines are energized? If you take a look here at this house, you have a light that every time the light comes and flashes red, that means that the electricity is flowing down through the power lines. So now in this demonstration, what we're gonna talk about is flying a kite. Susie really wanted to learn how to fly a kite, and I know when I was younger, I used to love to fly kites. So Miss Smith is gonna teach Susie how to fly a kite. The one thing that Miss Smith did not pay attention to is how close she was flying her kite to the power lines. And we do know that electricity wants to get to the ground and it wants to take the path of least resistance to get to the ground. So as Miss Smith becomes closer to the power lines, the electricity has a chance to arc, and now Miss Smith has been zapped. And with the electricity passing through Miss Smith's body, you see that the electricity will pass through her body to the ground, which, like I stated before, the electricity wants to take that path of least resistance to the ground. So here we have Susie. She is walking through her neighborhood and she sees one of the green transformers open. The transformers are designed to step electricity up or down into your homes. So you have the electricity flowing from 7,200 volts of electricity to the transformers, which this is an underground transformer, and the transformer steps the electricity down to 120 volts to your home. So with Susie seeing and noticing that this transformer is open, she's a little curious, and then she becomes too close and comes into contact with the transformer, and she gets zapped. So with her getting zapped, this is a reminder that you don't want to sit on, you don't want to stand on or play around them. I know when I was younger, our transformer used to be right at the bus stop and everybody used to sit on it on cold days. So now that I know what I know about the transformers, I would advise you, please do not sit on them, touch them, or play around them. Alrighty, so we have Bobby here. and he was playing kickball. And like myself back in my younger days, I was the king of kickball. He's kicked the ball into a substation, and with the gate being open, Bobby wants to go in and retrieve his ball. Unfortunately, Bobby comes too close to the transformer, and he is zapped trying to get his ball. So in that scenario, if you ever see a substation, when you're passing by, if there is a gate that is open, please do not enter the gate. It is very dangerous. It will also be marked danger high voltage on the fences that are around them. So please be safe and do not enter any of the substations. Okay, so Susie was in a bus accident leaving school, and the bus actually knocked down a power pole. Power line has now fallen on the bus during the accident. So the scenario is, what do we do? How do we stay safe? Rule number one is, as long as there's no fire damage or anything like that, you remain on the bus until your help or first responders comes to assist. If there is a danger of a fire or smoke or something, then you need to get off the bus. So in this scenario, Bobby sees the accident, so he wants to come help his friend Susie. And unfortunately, remember, electricity once again wants to get to the ground, and Bobby gets zapped due to standing on the ground, while Susie's safe because she's on the bus, and the bus actually rolls on rubber tires, so the rubber is keeping her safe. So in a scenario, if you're ever involved in an accident, please stay in your vehicle unless there is a danger. If there is a danger and there is a power line that has fallen on your vehicle, then what you would need to do is to make sure that you get out the vehicle as safe as possible. So what's gonna take place is I'm gonna call my friend Watson back over, and what Susie's gonna do is once she gets to the final step on the bus, she's gonna cross her arms, she's gonna put her feet together, and then she's going to bunny hop off of the bus. And we ask that she bunny hops at least 50 feet away from the bus, so that provides enough distance between the electricity and Susie herself so that she is safe. Once she gets from outside 50 feet, she's safe, and then she can run and seek assistance if she is injured. So Watson, I want to once again thank you for joining us today and helping present Watson's Electric Avenue. And we've taught you a little bit about the safeties and dangers of our neighborhoods. So once again, we want you to be mindful and take care. Thank you once again, Watson. Thank you for watching, and you all have a great day. Be safe.
Cobb EMC wants to make sure we are part of economic development, and one of the things that we try to do with economic development is it ties back into our cooperative principles. One of those principles is concern for community. So we want to make sure that not only are we giving back to nonprofits and to education, we want to invest in economic development in the communities we serve.
We value economic development, and we've brought over 900 high-paying jobs with our North American headquarters relocation.
Cobb EMC enjoys being able to serve new businesses that come to our community. So renewable energy and things like that are very important to them, so we can assist them with those efforts for renewable energy. We already have it into our solar mix and energy portfolio, and we can provide that to those new businesses.
We were excited to partner with Cobb EMC because of their understanding and flexibility of our need for 100% renewable energy here in this building in our pursuit of LEED Gold. Sustainability is a core tenet here at TK Elevator. We have just committed to science-based targets, locking in a carbon reduction target for our own operations of 53% by 2030. One of the main ways we will get there is by electrifying our fleet. We're adding almost 100 electric vehicles this year, with plans to add up to almost 40% electric vehicles by 2030.
When a business is relocating or setting up shop here within our service territory, two things to consider. We have high reliability and we have excellent customer service.
We're looking forward to advancing sustainability with Cobb EMC as we move beyond together.
Hi, I'm Jason Daves with Cobb EMC. I'm a first-class lineman. Today I'm going to show you and explain to you on a downscale version of what the pole looks like in the air. So the highest wire that you see, that is our primary wire, 7,200 volts on that. It has to have an insulator so that it does not touch the pole. The bottom wire is our neutral. That's where all of our grounds connect. Now I'm going to explain to you how we get the power from the pole to your house. So you got the copper wire that comes around to the top side of the switch, comes through the switch, comes out the bottom side of the switch to the transformer. I hear everybody talk about how my transformer blew up. It makes a loud boom. Well, it's actually the fuse barrel that blows up. There's a little small wire in here and it burns in two in the middle, and that's actually where you get the big boom. So we'll move around to the transformer. So the primary voltage comes in the top side of the transformer. It goes into the transformer, and then it translates it down into the voltage that we can carry to your house. So you've got two hot legs and a neutral. This would be your service wire that runs to your house. We provide the power to your house to run your TVs, refrigerators, your washing machines, things like that. And always, there's lots of wires on these poles, and if you ever see any of these wires on the ground, stay away from them. You never know if they're hot or not. Thanks for joining me for this tutorial on a pole.
everyone, my name is Lauren.
My name is Tim, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of an emergency kit.
So severe weather can be really damaging. It can cause outages that sometimes last longer than others. We do want to make sure you are prepared if this is to happen. And one great way to prepare yourself is to always have an emergency kit on hand. Tim, what is an emergency kit?
An emergency kit is exactly what you see right here. It's a list of stuff that you're going to need either in your household or at work in the event of an emergency.
So I will go ahead and start going through them. The first item I do want to touch on is our portable power station. So this one, it can charge some of your smaller accessories, so like your phone or your computer if you need it, but it can also power some smaller appliances. So it can power a TV, it can power a small refrigerator, and if you are able, it's really great to have on hand because you don't always have access to all of these appliances throughout an outage.
Now, what happens if you don't have one of these? You can go ahead and just reach for your flashlight that you can use battery operated, as you can see on both sides. It has a bigger one and a smaller flashlight. We also have I want to call these the old school radio. It has a flashlight also and a radio in the event that you don't have a power.
Yeah, and then another thing is you don't always have access to a grocery store because some outages do last longer. So you do want to make sure you're keeping non-perishable items or things that do have a longer shelf life. So keeping granola bars, canned products always in your pantry is really good to do. And the same thing with our toiletry kits. Like I said, some outages can last longer. So having these self-care kits just so you are prepared and have everything you need to take care of yourself every day throughout the outage.
And if these outages do last a few days or a few hours, you want to be as safe as possible. Everybody should know what a first aid kit is. If you don't, Lauren, this first aid kit that I have right here has the alcohol pads, it has bandages. It's good for your house, it's good for your car, and it's also good for work. Speaking of emergency, you also want to have your fire extinguisher. The fire extinguisher is very important in the event of a fire. If you don't know how to use it, it's pretty much self-explanatory on the front. You're going to want to pull the pin, you kind of aim, and then you sweep to get the fire out the way.
Yeah, and then one thing that hopefully you don't need this for, candles are always good to have on hand, given you always want to be safe when you have them lit. You want to be aware of them at all times and blow them out when you do leave. And it is always good to have matches or a lighter on hand as well.
Now, if you don't have matches or candles, there's always a flashlight. The flashlight can be charged with the portable power station you talked about earlier, is that right?
Yes.
So you can charge your flashlight, you can kind of get a bigger view of what you want to see around you. It either uses USB charger or you can charge it, or you can put batteries in there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the last thing we do want to touch on is that during an outage, especially if it's a long outage, it is always good to have a blanket or have coats on hand because the temperature can drop if you don't have access to another source of heat. So it's always important to keep you and your family warm throughout the outage as well.
Now, where can they find all of these items, Lauren?
So all of these items can be found on our Amazon Cobb EMC shop. Everything has been updated, so you do have access to all the items we have here if you do choose to make your own emergency kit as well.
Hi, I'm Jason Daves with Cobb EMC. I'm a first class lineman. Today I'm going to give you an overview of what we use a bucket truck for and what all is on our bucket trucks. We mainly use our buckets to get us high in the air to work on the poles. We have various different sizes of buckets. We mainly use a 55-foot and a 65-foot, but we do have some trucks that will reach 90 to 100 feet. A couple things that are really important to us when you're working in the bucket is we've got our rubber sleeves that we wear to protect us and our rubber gloves. We have to have these every time we're in the bucket to protect us. We have our line hoses that we use to cover up the wires for our protection. We wear a harness while we're in there just in case anything crazy happens. We're safe. Some of the stuff in our bucket, this is what we call a hand line. We use this to get material from the ground up to the guy that's working in the bucket. This is a hoist that we use to get our wires tight, keep them in the air. This is a grip that we put on the wire that we connect it to the hoist to pull it tight. Kind of move on to some of the stuff that's in the truck that we carry. This truck is pretty much stocked with anything that we would need on a day-to-day basis working out on the lines. From our bolts that we use on the poles to our squeeze-ons that we use to connect our wires together. Put 2 wires in there, one on each side, and you can squeeze it with a little tool that we now have in a battery form. And it put it in there and you can squeeze the connection with batteries. We love our battery tools because our battery tools makes our job a whole lot easier. The line hoses that we showed earlier and the blankets, we carry those on our front bin on our trucks. But like I said, our truck has anything that we would need on a day-to-day basis. We carry extra wire on the truck. This would be the wire that you would see that we would use that's strung up high going down the roads. This would be our primary wire. This would be carrying the 7200 volts, would be this wire. This wire would be what we call our service wire. This would be the wire that's carrying the power to your house. It comes from the pole to your house. And it has 2 insulated wires and 1 non-insulated wire. The 2 insulated ones is the ones that's carrying the voltage. And that pretty much concludes us on our bucket truck. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was some good information for you. And thanks for watching.